Assalamu alaikum dear students. Welcome back to the topic mechanical properties of solid. In the last lecture so far we have studied about the modulus of elasticity. We had studied three modulus of elasticity: Young's modulus, bulk modulus and modulus of rigidity. Now let us study one more quantity called as Poisson's ratio. Consider a metal wire. Its original length is capital L. Length of the wire is capital L. When this wire is subjected to a load, suppose the load is applied, means the force or stress is applied to the one end of the wire. Here we have applied the stress. Stress means force. So when the force is applied to one end of the wire, we all know that it is going to elongate. So its length will increase in size. As we apply a load, the length of a wire increases, but what we will see that along with it, its diameter goes on decreasing. Similarly, if you take a metal wire and when you apply the stress from both the sides in order to compress it, what you are going to observe that the length of a wire will get decreased, but its diameter will increase. So whenever a metal wire is subjected to a load, there is a change in its length as well as change in its diameter. So there is one quantity which deals with these two types of changes: longitudinal change as well as lateral change. Lateral means sidewise change. So here we will have to discuss about the two types of strain which have been created over here. We all know that strain is nothing but we have studied this quantity strain. It is nothing but change in dimension to that of original dimension. Here obviously by applying the force we are actually changing the dimension of the wire. So change in dimension per unit original dimension is called as strain. So far we have studied about the longitudinal strain. Longitudinal strain means what? Change in length per unit original length. Suppose the wire is subjected to a force in order to increase its length. So let its length be changes by an amount, say delta L, and its change length is small l. So longitudinal strain is nothing but change in length per unit original length. We have already studied it. Similarly, lateral strain, how you can define the lateral strain? Lateral strain is nothing but change in diameter of the wire to that of original diameter. So suppose capital D is the original diameter of the wire and small d is the change diameter of the wire. So lateral strain is nothing but change in diameter to that of original diameter, small d upon capital D. The small d is the change in the diameter and capital D is the original diameter. So how you can define the Poisson's ratio? Poisson's ratio is denoted by sigma, and it is a ratio of these two type of strain which have been created in a wire when it is subjected to a stress. So sigma is defined as lateral strain to that of longitudinal strain. Just now we have seen that lateral strain is small d upon capital D, change in diameter to that of original diameter, and longitudinal strain is small l upon capital L. So let's take the ratio, put the value of lateral strain as small d upon capital D divided by longitudinal strain is small l upon capital L. Now this ratio, when it comes in multiplication with the numerator, it will be reversed. So it will become D upon capital D into capital L upon small l. So this ratio will comes out to be equal to D into L upon capital D into small l. This is called as Poisson's ratio and it is denoted by sigma. We all know that this is a ratio of two similar quantities strain, although the strain is not having any unit and dimension because it is a ratio of two similar quantities. So Poisson's ratio is also not having any unit and dimension because it is a ratio of two types of strain. So this is what we will have to study about the Poisson's ratio. Now let's move further for our next topic, which is a behavior of a metal wire. Again, we will have to consider the same type of metal wire and we will subject it to a particular type of stress. So our next topic is behavior of a metal wire, or you can write it as stress strain curve. Stress strain curve means what? We all are familiar with the word stress. Stress is nothing but the force per unit area, applied force per unit area, or you can directly call it as force. Similarly, strain is nothing but when we apply a force to any type of object, obviously there will be a change in its dimension, there will be a change in its length, there will be a change in its shape, there will be a change in its volume. So strain is nothing but change in dimension to that of original dimension, and stress is nothing but force per unit area. So again, what we will do, we will consider one metal wire and we will subject it to a stress. This metal wire is obviously it is going to have length capital L. When we apply a load to its lower end, suppose some type of load is applied to its lower end, what will happen? The length of the wire will get increased. When you go on adding a load, this load is nothing but your stress. When we go on adding a load, the increment or change in the length in the wire will go on increasing. As we all know that stress is directly proportional to strain. Greater the stress, there will be a greater strain. So when we go on adding a load to this lower end of the wire, this is a metal wire, please remember it. When we go on adding a load to this metal wire, the length of the wire goes on increasing. So obviously, what type of stress and strain we are dealing with? We are dealing with the longitudinal stress and longitudinal strain. Means the stress and strain which are corresponding to the change in length of the wire. So here we have taken this wire. Initially, the wire is subjected to a strain. We all know that its length goes on increasing. So we can say that stress is directly proportional to strain. So obviously, for a particular amount of stress, the wire will go on obeying the Hooke's law. Hooke's law we have already stated in the last lecture that Hooke's law is nothing but stress is directly proportional to strain. So we all know that stress is directly proportional to strain. It will follow the Hooke's law up to a particular limit. So what we will do, we will go on adding a load to the metal wire till the metal wire will get break. Obviously its length goes on increasing, the elongation produced in the wire will go on increasing, and a time will reach when the wire will get break. So we will apply the load to the lower end of the wire till the wire gets break. And simultaneously we will go on recording the change in length of the wire and what type of stress, the amount of stress we have applied over here, the amount of load we have applied, that we will have to record. So actually what we are doing, we are performing one experiment. So after performing experiment, we will get such type of curve. When we analyze our readings for stress and strain, we will plot a graph between stress and strain. So here we have taken two axes where the y-axis represents the stress applied to a load and x-axis represents the strain produced in the wire. What we are going to observe, we will observe when we increase the stress, there will be an increase in the strain, increase in the length of the wire. Increasing strain means what? Increase in the length of the wire. So far within the elastic limit, the wire is going to obey the Hooke's law. So we will get such type of graph. We will get such type of graph. Here we will name it, origin is O. Here the first point over here is A, second is B, third is C, and the last point is D. So actually what happened, when stress increases, initially when the stress increases, strain goes on increasing. So that is why we are going to get a straight line, because initially the wire is going to obey the Hooke's law. So this point A in the graph represent the point till where the Hooke's law is going to be obeyed by the wire. So that is why this point A and the stress corresponds to this point is called as proportional limit. Proportional means at this point the stress and strain both are directly proportional to each other. So point A is called as proportional limit. Similarly, when again after the point A, when you go on increasing a stress, let us increase a stress or increase the load to the lower end of the wire, what will happen till the point B, till we reach to the point B in the graph. Here at this particular point, B, when the point B is reached, what we'll do, we are going to remove out the loads from the wire. So at this point, what will happen? The wire will regain its original. When we remove a load from the, when we make the stress 0, and when we remove all the loads, what will happen? The wire is going to regain its original shape and size. So at this particular point, the wire will have the ability to regain its original shape and size at point B. So that is why point B is called as elastic limit, or it is also called as yield point. Point B is called as yield point. Now what we will do after reaching the, keep again the same amount of load till we reach the point B. Then after the point B again goes on increasing a stress. Let us slightly increase the stress. Can you observe the change in the length? Can you observe the strain produced in the wire? The wire is going to quickly deform at this particular point. So we are going to add the we will go on adding a load till the wire gets break, till the point C and D. Here first we are going to get the point C. Whenever here the small change in a stress will correspond to the large change in the strain. So point C, what we will do when the point C is reached, obviously the wire is going to break. We all know we will have to perform the experiment till the wire gets break. So before the breaking point, let us see the point C. When the point C is reached, what will happen? when you remove all the loads from the wire is not going to follow the same path. Here the straight strain curve is not going to follow the same path. Indeed, it will follow such a straight line which will meet the x-axis at point E. It means what? When the point C is reached, when we have increased enough amount of load beyond the elastic limit, here beyond the elastic limit means after the point B. So when you increase a load, there will be a permanent deformation in the wire. The wire is not going to get its original shape. Indeed, it will have a little amount of extension. That extension is called as OE over here. So this OE represents permanent deformation. Produced in the wire, which will be obtained through a line C. Similarly, again keep back all the loads for point C, then go on increasing a load till the wire breaks. So here obviously the wire is not going to obey the Hooke's law. It has crossed its elastic limit and the permanent deformation has occurred. Even it will follow such type of path. When you are not increasing any stress, then too the wire is going to elongate and finally it will break at this point D. So point D is called as breaking point. This is what we have studied from the stress strain curve. Now let us classify some elements over here. We have observed elements like copper and aluminium, gold, silver. They all are going to follow this graph. And some of the metal will follow only a part of it. So let us see all this metal. Let us consider the first copper and aluminium. We have already seen, we all are familiar with these two types of metal. They are going to follow the same stress and strain curve. That is why these two metals are called as ductile. Means it can be drawn into a wire. So such a metals are called as ductile metal. Similarly, if you take a substance or if you take a material like glass or ceramic, we all know that glass and ceramic, they are not going to hold such a load for such a long time, just like copper and aluminium. When you apply the load to the lower end of the glass and ceramic, they are going to break within the elastic limit. They will not reach to the elastic limit of this curve. So that is why these two materials are called as brittle. Similarly, we have seen the metal like gold and silver. They are going to follow the part of it, this curve, stress and strain curve, and we all know that these two metals can be hammered to a plain sheet. So that is why these two metals are called as malleable. Similarly, we have one more substance, very famous one, which is having a long elastic limit called as rubber. We all know that rubber is going to have, when you increase, rubber is going to have more elastic limit as compared to these two type of metals. So that is why rubber is called as elastomer. And there are substances which are not going to have any elastic limit. They are called as plastomer. So this is what we have studied from the stress strain curve. Hope you will have understood all the parts of the curve. And see your initial part where the wire is going to obey the Hooke's law, and then we will reach to the point B where the stress and stress, they both are proportional there, but they are not going to follow a straight line. Point B is called as elastic limit. At this point, when you remove all the loads, the wire is going to regain its original shape and size. That is why this point B is called as elastic limit or yield point. Then after it, we will have to increase a load till the wire gets break. Obviously, beyond the point B, when we increase a load, the wire is not going to remove its not going to regain its original shape and size. When we remove all the loads, there will be a permanent deformation OE in the wire. Similarly, even if you don't increase a stress at this beyond the point C, the wire is going to be flow and it will break. That is why we are going to get a point D in a curve. This point D is called as breaking point, and the stress corresponds to this point D is called as breaking stress. The stress applied to a metal wire at which the wire gets break is called as breaking stress. So this is the summary of our stress strain curve. Hope you'll have understood the topic. Thank you.